I'm extremely delighted to welcome you back to this, our worshipping space. It's been a long while, and I'm certain that most of you are excited to come back and worship here at St. Peter's. However, there will be a new normal that we should get accustomed to, at least for the coming few months. Our COVID-safe officers will now brief to you the guidelines to be observed while we participate in the church services.
We're on our way to St. Peter's here, and as we arrive at the door, you'll notice that there's a lot of signs around regarding stopping the spread of the COVID virus and the need for a great deal of care. Some people would try and use their sleeves to save touching the door handle as they come in. On entering the church, we see there are arrows on the floor, and that's to give us our social distance prior to signing in the narthex here. That's a funny shaped arrow because if there's no one there, you don't have to go along the full line, you join it wherever you like. But we have placed some sanitizer over here so that you can have yourself prepared as we move down towards the chair for a sign-in. When we get to the sign-in, we can make ourselves very comfortable here. And are you going to write our names down for us?
Yes. So, and I will write down names and phone numbers, and so that we have a record. Your mobile, Jeffrey?
Oh, I don't have a mobile. Well, no, I can't help you with that. I'll give you 9460. There we go.
Okay. And Jolly.
And after we've filled in our details, we're then free to move to the next stage.
So, follow the arrows and enter through the Moncton Road side. Please avoid touching the pews which have been put to the back here. We have set up the chairs so that they are 1.5 metres apart. We put lines at the back so that we can reposition them. If there are a family group, they may wish to move the seats closer, but they need to be moved back to those points. You can take a seat. When it's time to take communion, you rise and take it to this point here. One at a time, approach between the lines, take communion. You can then exit via the left or the right to move back to your seat. Upon the conclusion of the service, when leaving, exit via the High Street side. On the left of the chapel, we have a restriction of one person due to the limited space there. Extra people may stand at least 1.5 metres apart outside whilst waiting. Then exit, following the arrows. There'll be no morning tea served until the restrictions are lifted. The Elmer Street side will be closed off. If you need to go to the toilet, you will need to get the key of the COVID officer myself. And you would then exit.
We welcome you back to St. Peter's Bundoora, but in doing so, there are a few pointers that we need to mention in relation to the COVID virus that we're currently restricting what we can do. Your presence here today requires, first of all, to make sure that you have signed in with your name, address and contact number, as well as being prepared to indicate whether you have been in contact with, experienced the pleasures of the pandemic in some other form, because those things may be a reason for you being excluded if you are not well, of course. Once you've got past the signing in process, we remind you that we won't be using prayer books or hymn books. The service will be projected on the screen, and because we are discouraged from singing, there will be no need for a prayer book, for a hymn book. There will, of course, be no morning tea at the end of the service. The chairs have been placed where they are to maintain distance, and if for some reason they move, or they have to be moved, if they could be replaced with the back legs on the white line that's provided. Last but not least, the toilets as the present are locked, but if you require them, our COVID officer, Stephen Simpson, will make available a key for you. The reason that we have them locked at this stage is because we're trying to limit how much cleaning that we need to do, because everything that's touched has to be cleaned, and we were hoping that this will limit how much cleaning we might have to do, but we expect as you exit that you'll leave them as you find them. And something that I did almost forget was that the Alma Road entrance exit will be closed, and all entrance and exits will take place through the Moncton Road doorway. That will limit again the cleaning that's required. Another restriction is the offertory plate, which we're accustomed to passing around the church. At present, of course, we're not permitted to do that. So you will find it as a retiree placed over near the sacristy door, so that if you need to or wish to use that on your retirement, you may deposit your contribution there.
Please note that under current circumstances, there will be no morning tea served. When you enter, you will be asked whether you've been in contact with anyone from overseas or have been diagnosed with corona. You will also be asked to sign in with your name and number. Toilets will be on limited access, so if you need to go, you will need to come and see me to unlock the toilet. We will only be using the disabled toilet, and you will need to make sure that you clean the doors as you exit. Also, any parishioners who have come in contact with someone with COVID or have been diagnosed, please report it to me so that I can keep a record as COVID officer of St Peter's Bundoora.